This is your daily reminder. God has not run out of mercy, not for you, not today. Welcome to the New Mercies Podcast. Welcome. Today is Saturday, June the 20th. I am glad that you have found us here at the New Mercies Podcast. If you're listening anywhere around the world, I want to encourage you to subscribe and like and follow, do all the things. And I know that we have some listeners this coming week in Honduras because we have sent a mission team from our church to the nation of Honduras to work with a ministry called Hope Through Him. Each of these episodes, I'm going to make a mention of our team down there so that you, believers that are listening from all around the world, will pray for our team that is down there to see the Lord do some great and mighty works. It is awesome to partner with a great ministry. I will also link Hope Through Him in the episode descriptions for the remainder of this coming week as my team is down there. So thankful the Lord has brought them, sent them from us to them to help and spread the love of Jesus everywhere. Now, today we're going to continue in our series in the Tabernacle. It is Saturday. It's a bonus day. It's an extra day. So if you need to catch up on anything from this past week, go do that now. Go do that today. But if you need a little bonus extra reading, you can look at Psalm 132 is our text today. I did not make I've got my Post-it notes here, but I didn't make any notes today because I want to just share from the heart a little bit from this text. We don't know exactly who wrote this psalm. Some think it was Solomon. Some think it was Hezekiah, and a lot of other options. I have a personal leaning. I think it's Hezekiah. That's my own personal interpretation. It does not matter, though, because it's not written who wrote it. It does help us to understand a little bit more about the psalm if you kind of know maybe a time frame, but ultimately we know it was after David because it mentions David and specifically what God had promised through the line of David. So I do want to say Psalm 132. The reason I picked this one for this week is because we are in the study of the Tabernacle. This Sunday, tomorrow, I'm preaching, Lord willing, from Exodus 25 through 27, and we're going to look at the tabernacle, the pieces, and different elements of it. This psalm mentions one of those elements. It mentions one of the pieces of furniture, the Ark of the Covenant. So that's found in verse number 8 and 9. I want to read, though, verse 6. I just want to read a couple verses here. Listen to what the Bible says in Psalm 132, beginning at verse number 6. Behold, we heard in Ephrathah, we found it in the fields of Jair. Let us go to his dwelling place. Let us worship at his footstool. Now, a couple things to note here. If you keep reading, it'll say, arise, take your resting place, and it talks about specifically the ark of his might. That's the Ark of the Covenant of God. That is the piece of furniture we're going to talk about a little bit tomorrow. We're going to look at it in the tabernacle. It's a beautiful piece of furniture. One of the things about that piece of furniture, though, it mentions here to worship, verse number 7, it says to worship. We want to worship at his dwelling place, at his footstool. The footstool is an actual, it would be a stool that would be sitting at the throne of a king. So where the feet would lay on the throne of a king. Now, we know the Ark of the Covenant has a slab on the top with an angel figurines up over top of that with their wings pointed up, but it would be the mercy seat as we know it. But it's a slab where it's the lid of the Ark of the Covenant. And so this is mentioned as the place of where God would reign. His throne would be sitting atop of that. So this would be the footstool. The lid of the Ark of the Covenant would be where his feet would be, right? If we look at that imagery. Now, what's happening is they mention in here that it's heard all the way from Ephrathah. It can be translated Bethlehem, or even the word Ephrathah specifically can be translated fruitful. It is a name that means fruitful. So this is one of the places that we know David is from. It's his lineage, it's his homeland there in Ephrathah. And we also see that it says, so it starts out with that, then it names another place, Jair. And Jair is a place that if you go back to the book of Samuel, 1 Samuel specifically, chapter 6, I was telling my small group this the other day, I love 1 Samuel 6 because it is one of the craziest stories in all of the Old Testament. The Philistines attacked and they took the Ark of the Covenant of the Lord, and they took it to the place, Jair, or there's a longer name for it. I can't really pronounce it, but there's a longer name for it. But that's where the Ark of the Covenant was for 20 years. It lasted in that region for 20 years. The people of God missed that piece of sacred furniture, and but the Ark of the Covenant still had God's presence in it. So anybody in the Philistine camps would deal with the Ark of the Covenant, and they would have some bad things that happened to them. It was awesome. It was amazing. It gets put into a temple, and then the god of that temple falls down and has his head cut off. Crazy stuff. And so wild things happen. But this is the place place, this references, the psalmist is referencing the place where the Ark of the Covenant was, because Israel wanted the Ark of the Covenant in their presence again. They wanted it in the middle of their camp. It should not have been off in the woods somewhere underneath some tent. This should be in the very center of the people of God. That's what the psalmist is explaining throughout this whole psalm, right? The whole psalm is like, we want the dwelling of the Lord to be right back here where it was, where it's supposed to be. That's what we want. Now, I'm not trying to push for sacred furniture. What I am trying to say is the psalmist is recognizing we have a desire to worship at the feet of our God. That's our desire. That's our hope. If you read through this, there's also some links to some things about Jesus that would come and the connection of him. This is in the Songs of Ascent. We know there's several Psalms of Ascent that take place. And as you read those, you can kind of take them step by step by step. And this one is where we are to the top now of the ascent. We're towards the end of those Psalms of Ascent. And by this point, we should be praising the Lord as we are reading through the Hebrew hymn book found in the book of Psalms. I want to encourage you today, as you read Psalm 132, know this much is true. Our God, the goal of us as a people should be, we want him in the middle of everything. We want his dwelling place to be right here in the center of where we are. That's what our heart's crying. If you read the first 5 verses of Psalm 132, you'll see a lot of reference to David, a lot of reference to the promises through David and through his line. As you read, you can see he's just going to continue through that. The line of David matters. Why? Because the Messiah is coming through that line. And everything is pointing to Jesus of the New Testament. I want to encourage you today, as you read Psalm 132, read it with an open heart, with open ears and open eyes, and see something new, because his mercies are new today.